The great thing about being 20 years old is that you know absolutely everything. The bad thing, however, about being 20 years old is that you think you know absolutely everything. Here are 8 things I wish someone told me when I was 20. I'm randomly going to select 100 of you to receive your own gold-plated coin. I used to carry around a gold coin kind of similar to this one right here. Not to spend, but because it reminded me of wealth, and it was a symbol for me of what was to come and what I could achieve financially. As a thank you for your support, I want to give you a little piece of motivation to remind you of what you can achieve and the results that you can get in life. So, when this channel hits 500 subscribers, I'm randomly going to select 100 of you to receive your own gold-plated coin. These coins are real currency from around the world that have been plated in 100 mils of fine gold. Now, this might not make you rich, but it just might give you enough inspiration, as sometimes just holding a little bit of wealth in your hands can make you feel a certain way and drive you to go out and achieve the best results. My hope is that you not only achieve all of your financial goals, but also that you then take that knowledge and go out and pass it back to the world. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, like this video, and you are automatically in the running. Hey, if you're enjoying this content, I love what I'm doing. I want to keep on doing it, so please like and subscribe. Henry Ford had a saying, and he said that anyone who keeps learning stays young. He also said that the greatest thing in life is to keep learning, because that's what keeps us youthful. That's all well and good, but of course, when we're young, we think, well, we know everything. And the bad thing about that is a full sponge can absorb basically no more. I have to admit that when I was 20, I probably thought that I knew everything too. And of course, that got me in a little bit of trouble here and there. Maybe not as much as some, but still enough that I had to learn from the school of hard knocks. I had to learn from my mistakes. I realize now, of course, being a little older and wiser, I realize that if someone had just told me a few things, just a couple of things that would have set me off on a different path, that maybe I wouldn't have had to learn from so many mistakes. Maybe I could have learned from the mistakes of others, because they would have been telling me things that made sense that I just didn't learn. That's why I wanted to talk about 8 things that I wish someone had told me. First, I would like to say, what was I taught? What are any of us taught? We're taught to basically go to work, get a job, maybe save our money, but I was told to work hard and to save money. And that's all well and good. I mean, I would tell you that right now. Working hard and saving money, nothing wrong with those 2 things. As a matter of fact, make them priorities and do them. That's where we all start. But then what do? No one said, okay, after you've got this little pile of money amassed, your savings, what do you do with it? Where do you put it? I mean, we all heard the old term like, oh, stuffing money under a mattress and saving for a rainy day. But, well, where are you really to put the money? And is there a way that we can put the money somewhere where it's going to benefit us and we're not just going to be piling it up to be lost, stolen, or spent, right? With that, the 8 things I wish someone told me. The first thing is I wish someone had instructed me on compound interest. Compound interest is making interest on interest. I mean, after all of the schooling, after everything we're not taught in school, all of these formulas and all of this math and all of this algebra, you think someone would have told us about the formula of compound interest and how that works. No one ever did. It's a pretty simple formula. I mean, take $1, add some interest, equals more money. And that more money that it makes, the interest it earns, is money you're making while you sleep. $1 plus interest equals money while you sleep. What a great formula. At any amount of money, it works. And God forbid you actually keep adding to the principal, well, then things really can snowball in the right direction. No one told me about that. So I would just make money, and maybe some of it ended up in a bank, which does nothing and earns you basically zero interest. And the rest was just kept around for spending, right? Either in the form of cash or maybe in a safe or wherever you had that, but I had access to it. And that access means it wasn't working for me somewhere. The second thing I wish people had told me about was a little thing called the S&P 500. I mean, what even is that? We'd heard about stocks. Maybe you saw people talking about stocks in a movie or something, but you never knew about really investing in something like the S&P 500. Well, the S&P 500 is the 500 publicly traded companies in the United States that are basically at the top of the food chain, right? This is the creme de la creme. And the S&P 500 has not only outperformed many other major markets over its life, but it also has outperformed inflation for the most part. It has been a really good hedge against inflation and a really good place to put some money. Now, I'm not suggesting everyone go out there and buy all kinds of stocks. That's not really my thing. But what I am suggesting is that you can actually buy those stocks in a fund. There's many companies that will just sell you all of those companies at once. And you can put your money in there, and it is considered generally very stable and very safe. And you can ride the ups and downs of the market through some very safe fund. A Roth IRA would be the third thing, or an IRA in general. I mean, I didn't know anything about retiring other than people saying, put your money away, someday you're going to retire. You know, I mean, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but someday I want to have some money there. So no one had told me about a Roth IRA specifically, which is pay the taxes beforehand, dump the money into a Roth IRA. Not only does it accumulate wealth tax-free for your retirement, but then you can pull it out tax-free. It's a great thing. And any 20-year-old, I mean, any 30-year-old doing this is going to have plenty of time to get ahead, and it's a great tool that I want to tell you about. The other thing that I wasn't told about was financial planners. I mean, I didn't really learn about financial planners till in my late 30s, early 40s, I started to talk to people. Oh, well, I have a financial planner. I'd heard the term before, but mostly when I was growing up, you heard about CPAs, accountants, things like that. Maybe a banker who helped you, get started with something. But a financial planner is really just someone who takes their clients and helps them manage their money so that they can reach their financial goals. I mean, that's it. But guess what? They know a little bit more than you about doing that. Even when I first heard about financial planners in my late 30s, I thought that, well, you needed to be rich. Like, that's who talks to a financial planner. Who walks in the office of a financial planner? Someone with money. But that's not true. Anyone can talk to a financial planner. You can be 19 years old and go talk to a financial planner. You can be 25 years old and have no money except maybe a regular job that you're trying to save a little money every week out of your earnings. The financial planner is a good person to help you get started because all they are is a catalyst for you reaching your goals. You're going to tell them what you want to do. You can use a financial planner for anything. It doesn't just have to be for your long-term retirement goals. You could be saving for something as big as a house or something as little as a vacation or a new car. And the financial planner will help you get there because that's their job, is to be a goal setter and a cheerleader for your financial future. I wish someone had told me about this and that I didn't need to be rich to go talk to a financial planner. Anyone can do that at any age. So another thing no one told me was to buy a property or buy an income property specifically. Thankfully, that's something I did on my own. When I was 23, I was watching a movie and I heard the actors, they're obviously in acting mode talking to each other. And some guy said, oh, I just got through dealing with this very wealthy landowner. And I just heard those terms, wealthy landowner. And I said, oh, okay, I want to be wealthy. I want to be that first part. Is owning land the way to get there? But I went out and I bought my first property. I found some land, a piece of property in Maine, and a beautiful piece of property in Bradford, Maine, and I ended up purchasing it at 23. I mean, I just literally went out and I got the financing. It wasn't an expensive piece of property, but I think I took out a short mortgage of about maybe 10 years through owner financing, and I ended up paying it off in about 3 or 4 years. Well, I sold that property and ended up making some money. Most times people will tell you don't buy just land, buy real estate with a property on it like a home or something. But I've done really well with both. I've done well with buying property with land, that's just land, and buying property with a home on it. But that was something I did very young. Now, no one told me to do that at 20 years old. I kind of stumbled upon that at 23, but it ended up being a really good thing. But if someone in their early 20s goes out and buys a piece of property at any price, believe me, later on you're going to thank yourself, and maybe you will sell it for a profit, or maybe it'll be the house you live in, or maybe it could be a piece of land you develop. I've done all three. The next thing I wish someone had told me was to only buy my cars for cash. Now, thankfully, I kind of did that anyway, but most kids aren't told that. People don't go around saying, hey, you're going to buy a new car or buy a car, buy it for cash. That's not always easy to do, but I didn't know any better, which is why I did it. See, my dad helped me buy my very first car. He actually bought the first car when I was a teenager. I might have been 16 and a half. But he told me, this is the first and last car I'm ever going to buy you. Every car you buy after this in life, you're buying yourself. And I wanted some pretty nice cars. I just learned how to save my money to that end, to that purpose. When I wanted another car, I started shopping. I would give myself a budget, and then I would just shop within that range. So since I didn't know any better, I just always bought all of my cars for cash. And I've bought some really nice cars, literally from, Ford Ranger pickup trucks to Porsches and Ferraris, and I've always just paid cash. Now, I will say this, there is one exception. In my late 20s, I'd bought a few cars, I'd already bought property, and since I had always done everything through owner financing or cash deals only, I didn't have any credit to speak of. One day I went to go get some money out of the bank, and it was a good amount of money, and the bank said to me, oh, what are you pulling out? I think it was $12,000, and I was buying a van. And they said, you're buying a car. And they said, well, why don't you take out a car loan? Like, we'll do that. We do car loans. Why use your own money? And dealers do that all the time, that little trick, right? Why use your own money when we can finance it? And in this case, I actually did do it because they explained the benefit of building credit, which I just didn't have. So as I went out to go do bigger deals and bigger things, they said, even if you don't need the money, at least your credit looks really good. So twice to build my credit, I have purchased cars on financing. Now, mind you, I had the money to buy them cash. I had it. So in my case, what I did was I just took out the money and I put it somewhere where it would earn a little bit of interest. And I also didn't go the full term on the loan. If they were offering me a 5 or 6 year car loan with a really low payment, I would just double and triple up the payments and eat it up in a year. Regardless. But I only did it to build the credit. I always have purchased my cars for cash. So that leads me to always buy cars that I can afford, cars that I have the money and I just save up and then I go out and do it. It really is the best way. Cars are one of the biggest ways that young people, and everybody for that matter, goes into debt on a car loan. Also, you don't realize how much you save on everything else. So your insurances are going to be cheaper. You own the car, so it's not as big of a deal to pay for a repair yourself, whereas when you buy a new car or you buy a car you're financing, they want you to get the warranty as well, and they talk you into that because, well, anything could go wrong and you don't want to have that expense. But you're paying for that expense. So there's a lot of ways that financing a car costs you more money, and that's not just the interest and the payments. Also, budgeting. That was one thing I wish someone had told me about. I'm not going to get into a long-winded thing about budgeting. I talk about it quite a bit, but no one told me that there were different buckets that I should put the money into. All I ever knew about budgeting is if you were budgeting, you had no money. Why did I think that? Well, because occasionally I would be out with my friends and we'd be doing stuff and I would notice that we went out and all they ordered was a drink. I'm like, the rest of us are eating, order some food. No, I'm on a budget. Or we'd plan a trip and we'd be going away, maybe just river rafting or camping for the weekend with some buddies, and one of them would say, can't do it, I'm on a budget. So I always thought growing up that if you were on a budget, you were broke. Budgeting meant you had no money. No one ever explained to me that you could divide up a budget however you wanted to budget. You could put your short-term bills in one bucket and your long-term bills and savings in a couple other buckets. Maybe some long-term investment money could go in yet another bucket. I thought that, if you were budgeting, you were just broke, and that's what it meant. So I never really budgeted, and no one explained to me how budgets even worked. So I had a very bad connotation of what budgeting was. The last thing and final of the 8 that I wish someone had told me when I was 20 is that no one cares. In other words, we go out and we buy things, and I had to have the Ray-Ban sunglasses because maybe someone would be looking at the little logo in my sunglasses. I had to have the Doc Martens when there were tons of cheaper options than buying the Doc Marten boots. I, like everyone else, thought that the world was judging me at every turn, at every corner, at every second of every move I made. People were looking at me. And maybe they are. Maybe people are looking at you, but ultimately they just don't care. People are just too selfish, and they're mostly just thinking about their needs and what they want. And believe me, if you have something that they would want anyway, they're just going to turn around after you leave and think, oh, well, he doesn't deserve to have that, or he got it because his parents have a little bit of money, or that was a gift, or she's a trust fund baby, or whatever. They're going to discount everything that you've gone to work for and that you've earned anyway. No one really cares. People are way too selfish. I know this is super harsh advice, but I thought everybody did. So I, like everyone else, was out to impress. Now I just live for me. I do the things that I do. If someone pays attention that you have a nice home or a decent car or that you went somewhere, that's great. Like, fine, maybe we can talk about it. But I don't do anything to impress anyone else. I don't do anything or spend any money to impress anyone else and let them think about how great my life must be. My life is okay, and it is what it is, and hopefully I'm doing all right. But I'm doing that by me. I'm mostly caring about what I think, and I know that everyone else out there cares about what their life is doing. So I don't judge, and hopefully they're not judging me, and if they are, well, that's their problem. So these are 8 things that I feel if I had learned earlier on would have saved me a lot of pitfalls, both life-wise and monetary-wise. So I hope this has helped. My name is Daniel F. Margasa. You are watching the Almost Criminal Millionaire channel, and if you like the topic of money and finances and want to improve the health and wealth of your bank account, then please like and subscribe for more.